Now it's time to review the global developments with our special guest. I'm currently joined by Orkhan Amashov, international law expert, who will be analyzing the most important global events. Welcome, Orkhan. Thanks for coming. After 6 weeks of contest, the election ended by sweeping victory of Conservative Party leader Boris Johnson. Was his success predictable?
First of all, delighted to be here. Thank you very much for your kind invitation. Yes, indeed, it was predictable. I mean, it was the most likely scenario. But of course, the extent of this landslide perhaps was not very predictable. I think there are a couple of reasons why Boris Johnson has achieved this colossal success. It's the biggest Conservative victory since the time of Margaret Thatcher. First of all, I think that this election was about Brexit. Brexit was the most consuming issue. And Boris Johnson's message about Brexit was crystal clear. He said that decision has been made, now time to implement. You know the circumstances which led to this, this snap election. Boris Johnson came to power as a leader of the Conservative Party, then he wanted to prorogue Parliament. There was, his bill was negotiated, and there was a letter of an amendment. So, effectively speaking, Boris Johnson, at the very end of this journey, realized that he needs a new parliament. And this election gave him a huge majority, very effective majority. Now he will be able to deliver on his promise. And the leader of the opposition party, Jeremy Corbyn, wasn't very clear about Brexit. He was saying that he will offer a second referendum, and then he was saying that he wasn't saying what his position would be about this new election, new referendum. So I think that Boris Johnson's clarity and his ability to deliver his message, and Jeremy Corbyn's failure, spectacular failure to deliver the message, played an important role. And also, we shouldn't forget that Boris Johnson is a Tory politician with a star quality. He was a mayor of London from 2008 to 2016, and London is a very Labour-held place. It's very difficult for a Tory person to be a mayor there, but he managed to get it because of his star quality, because of his ability to appeal to people from all sorts of backgrounds. So I think the result was predictable, but perhaps we were not expecting this landslide, and I think on the whole it's a very good result for United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
And after he's won, what will be the impact on other political parties?
The impact will be absolutely great, because, as you know, Labour Party got only 203 seats, as opposed to Conservatives, who got 365, which effectively means that a British electorate did reject Corbynism. Jeremy Corbyn's policy, left-wing policy bordering on the Marxism, failed spectacularly. British people rejected this particular ideology, and Jeremy Corbyn made it very clear that after a certain period of reflection, he will step down, and there will be a new leader, and the future of the Labour Party in disarray, because there are not many people who could replace Jeremy Corbyn. And another point about Jeremy Corbyn, you know that in 1997 Labour came to power with a landslide victory under Tony Blair.
Yeah.
And the survival and the absolute crucial pivotal thing for the Labour Party was to hold the centre ground. And Labour under Tony Blair, New Labour, was a centrist party, and it was absolutely vital for the survival of the party. But under Jeremy Corbyn, it became very left-wing, and that's the result why they lost many seats. And if you look at the election results, you could see that there were many Labour heartlands which were won by Boris Johnson, because people did lose their trust in Jeremy Corbyn. He wasn't very appealing, his message was very clear, and I think that, of course, Corbyn will resign as a leader of the party. He will stay as an MP, of course. I suppose he will stay as an MP, but he will resign as a leader of the opposition. And what will happen to Liberal Democrats? As you know, Jo Swinson, leader of the Lib Dems, she lost her seat. She was touting herself as a future Prime Minister, very ambitious lady,
exactly.
But she lost her seat. It's a devastating result for the Liberal Democrats, and also it's very clear that Jo Swinson was speaking off the top of her head for most of the time. So in the British politics, I think Brexit changed the entire discourse. Conservative Party has become more right-wing in a sense, because, as you know, in many places, Labour lost votes because of the intervention of the Brexit Party, which didn't gain any single seat. So the Conservative Party will become more a Brexit-oriented and right-wing party. Labour Party will need to move to centre again in order to be able to get back to power. And Liberal Democrats, it's completely uncertain. I mean, what will happen about them, because their policy is about Remain did fail spectacularly. And the most important result of this election is that Brexit now cannot be stopped. There's absolutely no chance for this particular thing to be stopped. And I think that's the most important thing to bear in mind.
And the Brexit, what it will mean for the European Union membership and other countries?
Well, United Kingdom is the first country which is leaving the European Union, as you know, and who knows whether Britain is the last. But one thing is very clear: it's a huge damage to the European project, because an important country like United Kingdom, second biggest economy, the biggest financial centre, London, leaving. It's not good for the European Union. In terms of the future UK-EU relations, I think with this working majority, Boris Johnson will be able to pass through any legislation he wants, and by the end of January, even before that, Britain will be formally outside the European Union, and after January, from January onwards to December, there will be a free trade negotiations between Britain and the European Union, and I think it's within the best interest of both sides to reach a good free trade deal, because these countries are intertwined and they need to be working closely. And I think, ultimately speaking, the chances for hard Brexit, for harsh Brexit, you know what harsh Brexit is?
Yes.
It's a system under which Britain leaves. It's a cliff edge leaving, and that's not going to happen because it's not within the best interest of both sides. For example, London is the biggest financial centre in Europe. Together with New York, there are two capitals, and London has got passporting rights. So passporting rights means that you may have your business in London, but you can trade within the European Union. I think that those passporting rights must be preserved for the greater good of the United Kingdom and European Union. So for other countries, what kind of examples they will take from Brexit? You know, the reason why Brexit was so difficult, because fundamentally, back in 2016, when David Cameron resigned, Theresa May came to power. She was a reluctant Remainer. A reluctant Remainer is somebody who believed in Remain, but she was forced to, effectively speaking, advocate for Brexit after becoming Prime Minister. Theresa May failed spectacularly because the deal negotiated with the Theresa May's government was complete rubbish. There was Irish backstop, there were many other things, but they were totally unacceptable. When Boris Johnson came to power, he did take some robust and drastic actions. There were lots of people against him within the Conservative Party. He managed to deal with them. Then he wanted to prorogue Parliament, didn't succeed, but eventually speaking, he forced all the MPs to sign up to his Brexit deal, and that did work out. So now Britain has got a proper working majority with a competent government who will be able to negotiate Brexit properly and leave the European Union by the end of January.
Thank you for a short but wide explanation of the Brexit issue. That was all for the week. See you next Sunday. Goodbye.